Welcome back to the Simple Lifing channel. Today we are doing more decluttering in our basement. This is part 3 or phase 3 of our basement declutter. And normally we hit the garage as well. In the last couple of videos we did the basement and the garage kind of together. But on this day we only had time to work on the basement. And so I'm just showing you around here at where things currently stand since our last declutter. It's still plenty of mess down here, plenty of work to do. I'm showing you just briefly over here on the other side of the basement, but over here on this wall is where all of our Christmas stuff is, and we're going to go through this closer to Christmas, maybe even after Christmas when we've seen what we've used. But yeah, we probably have a bit of Christmas stuff we need to declutter as well. At the very least, we need to reorganize it so it's not in just random cardboard boxes that aren't even labeled correctly, but maybe get some nicer containers to store ornaments in and that sort of thing. So we'll probably do some sort of Christmas declutter when it gets around that time, we're thinking. But yeah, so we're going to stay over on the other side of the basement today. On this day, we were just hoping to kind of pick back up where we left, try to make a little bit of a dent in it. We didn't have a lot of time, like I said. This wasn't on the weekend or anything. This was actually, yesterday. That from the time I'm doing this voiceover, this was yesterday we did this, which was a Thursday. It was evening, late evening, and we worked until about 10 at night. So this was after dinner. This was after Doug had come home from work. I'd been with the baby all day, and we sat down, we had some dinner, we watched a couple shows, and a couple short shows. And then we had agreed we were going to come down here. So, it's kind of nice to have us both doing this project together because we can kind of keep each other accountable. So that's what we did this night. We were supposed to do it earlier in the week, and we just didn't get around to it or really feel up for it. Not that we felt up for it tonight, we really didn't, but thankfully we could keep each other accountable and we got down here. I'm going to just come out and say Doug is definitely the star of the show today. I did what I could, but after a while, I didn't really feel like I knew what else to do. So I kind of joined him a little bit, watching kind of over his shoulder as he was showing me some of the stuff from his childhood. But I'm going to tell you, I didn't know what to do when I first came down until I started to come across these donation boxes right here in the center, right where I'm working right now. And I realized, hey, this stuff in this box is to donate, and we must have missed it before. And then I found a second box for donations. And then I found a third one on the way, and I finished filling that one up. So right there, we were able to clear out 3 pretty good sized boxes and get them loaded up into the car for donations. So I wasn't feeling into this at all. I didn't think there was anything I could really do to make progress until then. And then I was feeling pretty good because I saw that progress, and suddenly my spirits were lifted and I felt like, okay, I did something, I can do something. It looks a little better now. And that really gave me that push I needed to dig in deeper and see what else I could do. I want to apologize again. I know I probably sound a little bit sick still. I don't know if you can notice or not, but I had a cold. It's been a cold plus allergies. So yeah, I'm just getting over all of that still. It's kind of dragging on and on. This time of year, the allergies can sometimes get really bad. So I'm sorry if my voice sounds off today as well. Here's what it looks like with everything cleared out, those 3 boxes. That feels pretty good. And then I was able to completely get rid of this huge box here because slowly I had been taking a few things upstairs. There were the throw pillows that I used on our bed in our last video, which I shared was our master bedroom declutter and organize. And I took the throw pillows and a blanket from down in this box. And then what was left was another, like a throw blanket. So I grabbed that and put it up on our bed too in case we get cold. Yeah, Doug is having a good time here, reminiscing and playing with some of his old toys. Yeah, whenever I have the chance, it's kind of fun to see what he had growing up because, I don't know, let me know. Does it look like he had a lot of toys? I always tease him that I feel like he had a ton of toys. But, yeah, we were just different. So Doug was working on a bunch of his toys still. It's a whole process. We talked about this last time. And he today was wanting to focus on kind of dividing up those toys between what he was going to attempt to sell and what he was going to keep and then what he was going to donate. I hope I got that right, but I think that's what he was doing. And then here he's also just organizing some of the tools. We really need a better setup for the tools, but for now he was just kind of putting them all together in our small-ish toolbox. Like I said, Doug was totally the star of the show here, but I will say that's partially due to I think I've gotten the majority of my belongings down here taken care of, and a big majority that remains does happen to be his, mostly childhood things, I think, and just like some army stuff too from when he was in, but a lot of childhood things, a lot of toys that he's, going to get through little by little. So at one point I just kind of went upstairs and put in a load of laundry because there was a pile of clothes that you might have seen that I had sorted through last time and had decided, okay, these are the ones I'm going to take upstairs. I'm not going to leave anything down here. That's my goal. If I am keeping something, besides these 2 tubs that are laying here, and eventually these are going to go upstairs too, but anything that I'm like, yep, I'm keeping, I really am trying to get it upstairs as quickly as possible because that really makes it clear whether or not I really want the stuff, because once it comes upstairs, we're so limited on space that it's like, wait a second, maybe I don't want this so much. And I got to be honest, when I brought this pile of clothes upstairs and put it in the washing machine, I felt just weighed down. I was like, I don't know that I want these clothes. I now have to add them to my wardrobe. I do need to get more clothes, but these clothes, they've been around for years. Not that that's a bad thing, but they weren't things I was excited about. They weren't things I necessarily loved, but I wanted to add them to my wardrobe to see if I would use them. And then most of them I was about to get rid of, but my husband was like, oh, I like that. I like that. I like that. So I thought, okay, let me give it another try before I make this final decision to get rid of them. So I did throw them up in the wash, and okay, honestly, part of the weighed down feeling was, oh man, now I gotta fold a big load of laundry tomorrow. Can you relate? Or just me? But the other thing is we were carrying up Doug carried up the donation boxes, right? Like 3 of them. And then he had 2 or 3 or so large trash bags sitting upstairs. I don't know. I need to ask him if he felt the same way. But when I came upstairs, I was like, oh, this feels familiar. Why is the upstairs feeling so cluttered? Let's get this out of our house. Of course, thankfully, today when he left for work, he packed it up into the car.
All right, so a couple of thoughts on some things that I'm working on down here today. I'm sure there'll be some footage of these 2 boxes full of toys that I'm about to talk about, but basically a bunch of old like Ninja Turtle and He-Man toys and things like that I'm ready to part with, but they may have a little bit of value. I'm not expecting a ton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself a deadline to sell these things. So I'm going to give myself a deadline of a month to have them listed up on eBay or whatever. And be actively trying to sell them. And if I haven't done it by the end of that month, then I'm going to donate them. But I want to have that deadline there just so I don't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to sell them, and then 2 years later be right back here and say, oh yeah, I was going to sell those someday. So give myself the hard deadline because if I haven't done it in a month, then I'm probably just not going to do it, right? So I'm just going to get rid of it. I also have this box of books right here, actually a couple boxes of books, and I haven't read most of them. I'd like to read some of them. And I was starting to go through the box. I was like, I don't want to get rid of these books yet. I do still want to try to read them, but I think what I'll have to do is a similar thing of set myself a deadline of, hey, you have to read a book every, whatever period of time, or, get rid of the book. I haven't decided what that time frame is going to be just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and shove that off for another another time while I give that some thought on the timeline that I want to give myself for those books. But I think that can be a good way to approach some of these things of maybe it's something you might think you have some use for, or you're just kind of on the fence. And so just set a deadline, set a reminder in your phone or whatever and say, hey, in this amount of time, I've either found a use for it, decided to keep it, or if I'm still on the fence, it's time for it to go. To that end, hey Siri, remind me in a month that if I haven't sold the toys to donate them.
Okay, your reminder is set for October 23rd, 2021.
There you go.
I think that is such a good idea, what Doug shared here about setting like a timer or a reminder that if he hasn't taken care of the stuff in a month, that has got to go. And I love that idea. I definitely think I'm going to do that with some of my stuff. What I was saying earlier about how I was feeling kind of useless down here because the majority that remains is kind of mostly Doug's, and he admits it now. But I've just gone through the majority of my stuff now, and I think I'm still going to go through it again. Like I've already gone through it like 3 times. I think I'm going to go through it again, and I really feel like I could still get rid of more. But tonight I was not feeling like doing that again. But then I was like, wait, I actually don't have anything else to do. But part of that is because although Doug has a lot of stuff down here, I actually have a lot of my stuff upstairs. So that's where I get really overwhelmed, is in the decluttering upstairs. In the house, I just feel like I guess I have the majority of my stuff up there. So here is the progress Doug has made so far. He's really clearing up some space, and I'm starting to feel like when we look around down here, we can kind of see what's going on. We can see, okay, those are some toys. Those are some things, that we still need to go through. That's Christmas, all of that. I was feeling like, okay, we're at a good point. It was getting late, and I was ready for us to head upstairs. But then Doug saw the stuff in the middle of the floor here, and he's like, what is this? I could just deal with this right now. So he went ahead, and these were a few more bins and boxes of his stuff, books, mostly books. And so he just went through all of that. And at this point, I was just watching him, and he was showing me some stuff from his childhood. And then also just some books that he was into. Yeah, you know what? Sometimes decluttering can be more on the chill side, right? Sometimes you can just be hanging out with your husband, and he can be sharing about his childhood, or you all can be talking about your past together and things and experiences you've been through. So it can be a bonding experience too. You can take it slow. It doesn't have to be stressful. That's something I'm learning. It was either that or I would just leave him down there by himself. So, I wanted to support what he was doing, and also it was quite interesting just reading things he had written down years and years ago, and also just seeing, the books he had growing up. What I want to, leave you with in this video is I just want to encourage you that if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you've got a basement that looks like ours, or even if it's worse, it doesn't matter. However your basement might look, or your house, I just want you to know that when you start chipping away at it, you might not feel like it at first, but the more, honestly, you might not feel like it every time you start chipping away, but the more you chip away at it, the easier it will become. And that is what we are discovering. Like, we will go through things multiple times because the first time we thought we didn't want to part with quite as much. And then the second time we realized, no, we can get rid of that. And then the third time, even more. And it just goes on like that. And Doug and I were talking about this, and we were realizing that it was like this for both of us. It was actually truly getting easier for both of us to declutter our stuff. The more we saw our stuff, the easier it was to get rid of more of it. And then one other thing that I want to leave you with is that, speaking from upstairs, because here is still pretty bad down here, and upstairs isn't perfect either, but speaking from the rooms we've done well in, like the master bedroom, the last video I did, we have clear surfaces still to this day. And I want to say, and the bathroom too, clear counters, they've stayed that way. And I want to talk about those places. they have stayed clear. And if anything starts to pile up, it is so obvious. And that is what I love. When you have clear surfaces, it is super obvious the moment they start to get out of hand, because when there is even one thing on the countertop or one thing on my dresser that doesn't go there, it sticks out like a sore thumb. You can spot it first thing when you walk in the room. Whereas when you have cluttered surfaces and you've got a dozen things on your countertop, and I'm speaking about my kitchen right now, the countertop, there's still one section I really need to work on, or my dining room table. They seem to be catch-all places. But anyways, those are just a few areas that this happens to. If you have a dozen things on your surface, your countertop or whatever, if one or two things creep up there in addition, it's not so obvious. Those one or two or three things can easily blend into your pile of other things. And before you know it, it's out of hand and you need a whole afternoon to take care of it. Or a whole weekend. But yeah, once you get to the point of clear surfaces and you just really appreciate those surfaces, you are going to grab things off of them as quick as they land there, because you're proud of your clear surface and you want to keep it that way for peace of mind, and just because clear surfaces are beautiful. So that is all I'm going to say today. Next time we'll be back with hopefully another basement and maybe even garage video. I'm not sure what's next. Probably we're going to keep pushing in the basement, but there's always more to do upstairs too, so I'm not going to make any promises of what's next. I'm not 100% sure. So we'll see you though very soon next week, and in one area or the other. But I hope you all are doing really well. I hope you're encouraged. Leave us a comment. Let me know where you are working on in your home, what you're up to. I love connecting with you all in the comments. I say it over and over, but you all really do keep us motivated, and sometimes it's the push we need to get down there in the basement on a Thursday night, not even the end of the week, so thank you so much for motivating us and encouraging us. I hope we can do the same to you all as well in these videos. So I'll see you really soon in the next one. Bye.